Today's topic I want to introduce to you is not a crime or an accident, but as the title suggests, we will unveil the mystery of a strange house in Japan. Specifically, on October 12, 2020, a post appeared on Japanese social media describing an acquaintance. Let's call him Mr. Y. Mr. Y, after saving enough money over many years, decided to buy a house. However, before signing the contract, he found something strange in the blueprint. He sent a photo of the blueprint to an architect for inspection. From there, the architect's reasoning raised a big question about the bizarre and confusing structure. The hypotheses about this house are not only unusual, but also extremely frightening. What is mysterious about this house? Why does it frighten the owner before moving in? As you know, the rent in Tokyo, Japan, is notoriously expensive, to the point that many young workers can only afford to rent a tiny apartment, about 9 square meters in size. To give you a clearer picture, an office worker in Tokyo with a salary of about 4.6 million yen per year would need to save all of it for 13 years without spending. In 2017, Mr. Y, a 30-year-old office worker in Tokyo, dreamed of owning a home to build a family. He wanted to live in Tokyo because it was convenient for his work. However, in September 2019, when he learned that his wife was pregnant with their first child, he realized the time had come to buy a house. Motivated by the desire to own a home, he decided to pool all the profits from previous small investments to start searching for his house. After a short search, Mr. Y quickly found a house in a good location at a very reasonable price, just enough for what he had saved. The house was a terraced house, meaning it came with the land on which it was built, offering stable value appreciation over time. The house had 2 floors, located in a quiet residential area near the train station, with a park nearby, perfect for a family with children. Mr. Y and his wife decided to inspect the house thoroughly, wondering why such a good home was being sold at such a low price. At first, both saw nothing strange, but when looking at the first floor plan, they noticed a mysterious space between the kitchen and the living room. The strange thing was that this space was sealed off, with no doors or access, leading Mr. Y to question its purpose. The real estate agent explained that this mysterious space posed no inconvenience in the use of the house. However, since this might be the biggest asset Mr. Y had ever owned, he couldn't shake off his doubts. He sought advice and was introduced to an architect, Mr. K. After reviewing the floor plan, the architect suggested that the space might have been designed as storage, which needed a door. If the door was from the bedroom, it could be a closet. If from the kitchen, it could be a pantry. But perhaps the original owner changed their mind or lacked the funds. Mr. Y learned from the real estate agent about the first owner, a man in his 30s, living with his wife and child. The largest room on the 2nd floor was the child's room. The strangest thing about the house was the child's room. To enter the room, you had to pass through 3 doors from the 1st floor staircase. This is an inconvenient design. Do you have to take such a winding path to access the largest room on the 2nd floor? Another odd thing was that the child's room had no windows, making the room dark and stifling, unlike the other rooms in the house. Since the room has no windows, at least the bathroom should have a window or an exhaust fan. Looking closely, the bathroom in the child's room only has a toilet, a door, and 4 walls. The child's room seemed completely sealed off, like a prison cell, making it feel like the child would be entirely cut off from the outside world. Thirdly, the parents' room has an open layout, which is completely opposite to the child's room. If the child's room is blocked by double doors, 2 consecutive doors without any windows, then the parent's room has a very large balcony and 5 windows in every corner. The entire second floor layout seemed odd, with a large, windowless, isolated bathtub room at the far right, separate from everything else. Japan is famous for being a meticulous country. They always build separate bathrooms next to the toilets. And even in extremely small spaces, they still make sure to have them separate to ensure cleanliness. But isn't it strange that in this design, the bathroom and toilet are completely separate? And even stranger is that the bathtub room is isolated all the way to the right, standing alone like that. The bathtub room, just like the child's room, had no windows, making it feel enclosed and mysterious. Architect K considered the strange connection between the empty space on the first floor and the unusual design of the second floor. He overlaid the 2 drawings, simulating the house vertically. Architect K wondered if the shelf in the child's room could be a secret passage down to the mysterious empty space on the first floor, connecting to the bathtub. This hypothesis seems reasonable, suggesting that the child might descend from their room on the second floor to the mysterious space on the first. Maybe the purpose was to prevent the child from going near stairs with windows, or to hide the child from the outside world. If they wanted to hide the child, they could have built the bathroom in the child's room. Why the complexity? Perhaps the child had a special reason. Architect K put forward a terrifying but logical hypothesis after analyzing the house's floor plan. The guest room with a single bed indicates that this house frequently hosted visitors. The spacious dining room seemed designed for parties. The story could unfold like this. While the guest was being invited to have a meal, the child was locked on the second floor. After the meal ended, naturally, the guest was invited to stay overnight, since they had a vacant room on the first floor. Following the host's instructions, the guest went upstairs to use the bathtub on the second floor. At that exact moment, the child, under instruction, silently moved through a secret passage from the shelf in the room down to the empty space on the first floor, and then back up to the bathroom. And if a murder were to happen here, who would ever know? So sudden and discreet. And then a question arises. How would they dispose of the body? Architect K once again pointed out an anomaly with another shelf in the child's room. He laid out the 2-story blueprint, and the coincidence became clear. That shelf was located directly above the storage room on the first floor. It's too hard to believe that everything is just a coincidence. Surely, it must be another secret passage. So, we have the answer. The body would be transported from the bathroom through the child's room, and then, from the child's room down to the storage room. The storage room is connected to the garage, making it very convenient for disposing of the body by car. After the questions were raised, Mr. Y decided not to buy the house. A short time later, the media reported on a dismembered body found in the forest near that strange house. This news shocked Mr. Y and his family, and they felt completely justified in not purchasing that house. Would you buy a cheap house in the capital, knowing the horror story attached to it?